Hello and welcome to another edition of TJ Video Game Reviews. I'm your host, TJ, and this time I'm taking a look at 3DO's own BattleTank.
BattleTanx is an action game developed and published by 3DO and released to the Nintendo 64 console on December 29, 1998. It spanned the sequel called BattleTanx Global Assault that came out the following year, but before the company could make a third game, they went bankrupt. Too bad.
Without further ado, let's dive into BattleTank.
The first mode we're going to look at is Campaign, which contains the main story of the game and is only single player. You play as Griffin Spade, whose girlfriend is taken by government agencies after a virus kills off 99.99% of the women population?
So let me get this straight. A virus kills off the majority of women in the world, and the men fight over the ones that are left in tanks. Somebody actually wrote that.
After that, everything hits the fan and there's nuclear war and gains taking the few surviving women as queen loads to survive. Griffin has to go from the east coast to the west coast to find Madison and battle several different gangs and form his own army in the process. Gameplay wise is pretty solid. The C button is your trigger which fires off your main gun. The A button uses special power ups like the swarmers or guided missiles, and B toggles machine them. Not to mention that this is one of the games where the tank controls are welcome and makes sense since, you're playing as a tank. You have a task in each level and can continue your process either through a memory card or password you get at the end of a level. There are also bonus stages where you play until you die to collect extra lives and points. You start off by yourself and then have allies to help you in the later levels. You go from New York to Chicago, Las Vegas, Area 51, and finally San Francisco. I hope you enjoy hearing Power Up because you're going to be hearing a lot of it.
Power up, power up, power up, power up, power up, power up.
Shut up.
One of the annoying things about the game is that after you blow up an enemy tank, the smoke covers the screen and you can't see where the next enemy is coming from. You're spinning around looking for the next bad guy to beat and you can't see in front of you, so they get some cheap licks in while you're waiting for the smoke to clear. You'll be spending a lot of lives as well. I died a lot in campaign, but the game makes up for it by giving you a ton of extra lives. Another thing I don't like is that there doesn't seem to be a way to turn the main gun. The enemy can turn their main guns, but you can't. How does that fail? There are 3 basic tanks in the game. The M1 tank, Goliath, and Motor tank. Goliath is what it names success, being a giant tank that's hard to take down, and the Motor tank is small. While it may be faster, it takes less hits to take it down, and the Goliath can just run over it. Yeah, crush it!
I noticed something while playing this game. It's set in 2001 in New York, and there's an explosion in 2001 in New York. Needless to say, hindsight is shony.
Okay, another mode is Annihilation, where you can play with an army against another army, and the last one standing wins. You can choose different games like the Dark Angel or the Nuclear Knights, which has nothing but Goliath tank. Fun to play as, but nearly impossible to beat. Then you have Battle Load, where you have to rescue a queen load from the base and return it to yours, while making sure yours doesn't get stolen in the process. It's kinda like Capture the Flag. The next mode is Deathmatch, where you have to destroy 7 enemy tanks to win. And then there's Family Mode, which is like Deathmatch, but you don't get to choose which game you play as. You can select up to 4 players and choose from the 4 dominant colors: blue, red, yellow, and green. You can have an every man for himself kind of battle or make different players the same team to face other teams. It's a lot of fun to play and mass up different colors and tanks to see the insanity unfold.
You can even launch a nuke on the battlefield.
Yeah, explosions. How could you go wrong?
But the BattleTank saga doesn't end there. There was actually BattleTank on the Game Boy Color.
This game was developed by Lucky Chicken Games and came out 2 years after the original game. It shortens the story by a large margin and starts off in Los Angeles instead of New York. The controls aren't as smooth as the N64 version, but once you get used to them, they aren't so bad. You have 1 button to shoot and 1 button to move forward in addition to the D-pad. For some reason, when you pick up a power-up, you have no way to target between that and the regular ammo. You have to use up the power-up weapon before you can go back to the regular weapon. On top of the story mode, you have a battle mode where you pick the main 3 tanks and you're supposed to destroy enemy tanks, and you have a different task in each level. Now, it is a downgrade from the N64 version, but that's to be expected since the Game Boy Color is just not as powerful as the N64. For what it is, it looks like a fun game that allows you to play BattleTanx on the go, but you haven't even played the N64 game, you miss out on a lot of story from the original game, and it doesn't make as much sense. But as an addition to the BattleTanx franchise, it's not bad. Overall, BattleTanx is a fun game with a challenging single-player campaign mode, and an even better multiplayer mode you can play with the computer or with friends. Nothing more to say, but get it.
That's it for this edition of TJ Reviews. As always, don't forget to like, subscribe, share, and I'll see you next time.